All right, so just a quick little rundown of our our webinar. This is part one. We're going to do introductions and housekeeping. We have two polls that we're going to, put out there and ask you guys to please fill out. Um, we're going to talk about the Atera Copilot ROI. Of course, we're going to dive into a demo. We are very excited. Everyone is going to have a part in that. And then we're going to ask you before we wrap up to fill out a survey because your feedback is always important to us. We want to make these better. We want to make sure, this time is valuable for you and you're getting what you want from these. Please stay engaged in the chat. We love it. Which brings me to the housekeeping. So part two is going to be next week, February 18th, at the same time as today. So hopefully this worked for everyone. We split it up because there's just so much in the Copilot to do in one is a lot of time. And we're hoping that you guys have questions and it's not just us talking to the void. So please ask away. The way we split it up is there's like the first half of both of them is going to be pretty similar, where we're going to talk about the ROI just in case somebody couldn't make it to one. We want to make sure everyone has that understanding and some other things, some cool features. And then we split it basically where today is going to be focused on ticketing, Copilot for ticketing. And then we're going to do more of the RMM next week. Both are very exciting. We are recording this session, so we'll share it with you automatically after. Once we're done, you'll get it in an email. Like I said, we invite you to type questions in the Q&A window. You'll notice there's the chat and there's the Q&A. Chat, feel free to say what you want. We're in there. We're excited to chat with you. And the Q&A, please put the questions there because in the chat, we tend to lose them because, it'll get buried by other comments. But the Q&A, we could actually go in and make sure to answer your questions. Anything that we might not get to in there, we will make sure to get back to you. But we'll try to respond to everything as much as we can. And as I said, at the end, there's going to be a short survey. Basically, when we have when we're wrapping up, it takes less than a minute. It's just a few questions, and we would love your response. So with that, here's our team for today. So for those who don't know, we are actually half of our enterprise customer success team. So we have myself. I'm Andrew. Nice to meet everyone. I have with me Kim, who's on the call, on the webinar. And we have Daniela as well, and they will be presenting different features in Copilot with myself. And then on the chat, we have Alina, who will make sure that she responds to as much as she can, and the Q&A. No pressure, Alina. There she is. All right. And next week, unfortunately, you will see me again, but then we will have the other half of our team who will be presenting other features and in the chat. So that way, it's a team effort. We're all here for you. Cool. So before I dive into specifically the Copilot, I wanted to just point out that we do have two AI products, and it could be a little confusing at times what we're talking about. There's a lot of information and a lot of capabilities. So we have the AI Copilot, which is what we're going to focus on tonight. A good way to remember is it is your Copilot as a technician. It is your helpful advisor to make your life easier, but it will not do things for you. You still have to click a button. You still have to tell it what to do. It is your Copilot. You're in control. We also have the IT Autopilot. Now that is our tool that is on the end user side, your end users, your clients, your staff, whoever it is that is submitting tickets. And that actually could resolve tickets for you. But tonight, we're going to talk about Copilot. Feel free to reach out either through support or to your customer success manager if you want more information on the Autopilot. But tonight, like I said, for tonight and next week's webinar, we're going to be focused on the Copilot over here. I also want to point out that throughout the time, we have the request a demo button at the top. Feel free if you don't have Copilot and you want a demo, or maybe you do have it and your team needs a training. We find that, if the whole team comes to a training for it, there is so much more success because, having one person go and tell everyone the capabilities is not as strong. It's harder to convey, right, the capabilities. So definitely a lot of our clients have been setting up team meetings where we will come and do a session with you, a full in-depth training. Great. Let's see how the chat's going. Cool. No questions. We have some questions so far. And of course, Alina's on it. Wonderful. Okay. Um, we had a good question. Let me see here, actually. So there was a question if Copilot could be, for an MSP, for instance, or maybe even an ITD, if you could enable it only for specific clients or departments. That is something you can do with Autopilot, but with Copilot, it is for everyone. Because again, the Copilot's on the technician side, so it would be helping you for everyone. Just to clarify, that was the question. Very good question. All right. So first, I'd like to point out that many don't know, we actually developed our Copilot through a partnership with Microsoft. That is a huge deal. You might also be familiar that they have a Copilot product, but it's been developed in partnership with them, which gave us such a supercharged start. And we're way ahead of our competitors because we have a direct connection to OpenAI. So that's how we are able to have this natural language model, right? Our Copilot talks to you like ChatGPT or Gemini, right? And it's able to really resolve and look at everything and give you the best answer. So that's a very important attribute that I like to point out. And when we talk about Copilot, we talk about two core benefits. Okay. Again, like I said, we're never going to say Copilot resolved X amount of tickets for you because it didn't. You're still doing it, but it's helping you. So it's helping you save time at every step, right? If you think about other AI products, right? So that actually brings us, sorry, to our first poll. Before I continue, I'm going to go ahead and launch the first one. You guys should see, do you guys see that I launched it? Cool. So it's asking you if you're currently using AI tools in your day-to-day. So if everyone could go ahead, I see votes are coming in. We'll give that a second. Sorry, I jumped ahead. I get very excited. Okay. This is actually, I love this. So majority have said yes. The options are yes, no, or no, but I'd like to. Majority are saying yes, which is great. Nobody said no, but we do have votes saying no, but I would like to. So this is the perfect scenario for our webinar. I love that. The next poll that I'm going to do, let's close that one. For those that do currently have Copilot, and even if you don't, right, where could it save you the most time? And those that are using it, where is it? Is it the ticketing side it's saving you the most time? Is it the RMM side? Is it both? So we'll give that a few minutes here, or a few seconds. Okay, so I'm seeing majority are both, which is great. We love to see that. And then it's split pretty even between ticketing and RMM, which makes sense. Not everyone is using us for ticketing. So maybe it's just the RMM. Maybe your role, right, is just to handle the ticketing. But most we're seeing for both. That's great. Cool. Thank you guys for being engaging and filling that in. So, so going back to this, right? If you guys are using AI in your day to day, which I am, I'm using it in my personal life. It knows everything about me. I hope it's nice to me when they take over. But the real value here is how much time it's saving you and the fact that it's built into Atera, right? Of course, I always hear, but what about ChatGPT? I could summarize a ticket in ChatGPT. Sure. You have to copy it. You've got to paste it in ChatGPT. It doesn't have the history of your tickets. It's not connected to your devices. It doesn't have the full picture. So yes, it could summarize. Let's say you find a way and you feed it everything somehow that it's up to date. It has all your ticketing, it has your devices, it has your client information. Um, and then you talk with it, right? You troubleshoot with it, and it tells you what it thinks the best solution is. You still then have to go back into Atera to then take that action. So that is also one of the big features, right? So it's all that time saving, and then the fact that you could take agentic actions because we have the agents inside the device. To me, that's huge. It keeps your workflow much easier, right? It's saving you all that time. You get a ticket, you troubleshoot the ticket, you get the summary, it gives you an action you could take straight from there. You didn't have to remote in, you didn't have to chase, right, the end user to try and make a time to remote in. You've already put into place a fix, and then you could respond saying, "Let me know if it's better." And you're done. You move on to the next. We hear that all the time. It's saving so much time. Let's see. Um, Why is there not a none answer? So I missed which question that was for, but I'm sorry. Um, okay, cool. So we'll continue on. The next thing that I like to point out, this is helpful, especially if you're using our Copilot. This was kind of pushed out, and I found a lot of clients weren't aware, right? So once we get into the platform, we'll be able to show you that um, that in the bottom right of the screen, you could always hit the button, the purple button, and it will pull up Copilot, right? Before this, you were only able to do it from inside a specific ticket or from inside a specific device. You still can do that, but the point is that you could be anywhere in the platform. You could be working on whatever it is that you're working on. You could pull up Copilot and either work on something, go work on something else while Copilot stays on what you're doing. But the part that gets missed is if you are in what we call a universal chat, or if you're in a specific device, alert, or ticket chat. And the difference is that the kind of questions you would ask. So if you're in universal, that means you're at the, you're zoomed out. You could ask and analyze anything you want in the account. So for instance, you could say, what have been our top 5 recurring tickets in the last 90 days? And create knowledge based articles, right? You could ask any of that. How are our SLAs in the last 30 days, in the last 90 days? What's our top recurring issue on our devices? How many devices need to have patches, right? You could ask more of those higher level. And then of course, when you're inside a specific ticket, alert, or device, you would ask more questions about that device and troubleshoot that ticket. I actually have a client, I don't know if they're on here, and I hope I'm not stealing their thunder, but it's an amazing story that they had alerts set up for anytime there were like multiple failed login attempts, that an alert would go off. And they realized they were getting an insane amount. So they opened one of them and they launched Copilot, and they realized real fast that they were under a brute force attack. So they asked it, what is the user that's trying to log in and what's the IP address? And they were blown away that it gave them the information instantly. They were able to shut it down. It was on a weekend while their manager was gone. So not only did they look like the hero, but I asked them, and you guys would know better than me, but I asked them how long would that normally have taken without Copilot, and they said, "Oh, it could have been a few days to shut that down. And they did it instantly. So really, the Copilot, the knowledge is so powerful. I had another one where they had a very, very old, um, software. So much so they said that Google doesn't even have information on it. And they had an error and they put it into Copilot and Copilot was able to know and resolve it. So, I see Kim is shaking her head. We get these, or nodding
That's
her head, sorry.
amazing.
But like we all get these stories nonstop from clients. So they're really exciting to share. Um, Sorry. So going back, I like to just point out, you'll see here, these two look similar, but the difference is here, it's empty. That means you're in the universal chat. Whereas here, you could see it says a device name. So you're actually in the device. And then over here, you could see this is a ticket. It says the title of the ticket and the ticket number. So I just like to point out so that sometimes you'll switch to something and you'll come to the chat and you might ask it and it's not really giving you the right answer. That's usually because you're inside maybe a device asking about a ticket or something, vice versa. Okay. So now the fun part. Let me see one thing. Believe that was okay. So what I'm going to do now is hand it over to the lovely Daniela, who's going to start showcasing our first features. Let me stop my share. All right. So Daniela is going to kick it off with I believe, the AI insights, right?
Correct. Thank you, Andrew.
Awesome.
Let me share
Of
my
course.
screen.
Yep.
Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
One sec. It's loading. There we go.
Perfect. Okay, so as Andrew said, I'm going to show you first our AI Center. So this is where you're going to see a lot of the different actions that you can do, and I'm going to focus specifically on the AI actionable insights. So right here, we're going to be able to uncover generated insights from recurring trends. So anything that's been happening on your environment on a recurring basis, you're going to be able, the Copilot's going to generate suggestions for you, and it can come as an article or it can come as a script. You will have it here organized as available. You can save them for later. And then once you implement them, you'll have them organized here. So in this case, we have a few right here. All of these are articles, but what you can do is you can scroll down here. You get a description of what it is. In this case, how to resolve printer issues due to the lack of ink. So this is a great tool for you to not have, many times you have to go back into the ticket and find the ticket and understand what happened and how maybe another technician resolved it. With this, you can create either your internal knowledge base or you can also have it as an external knowledge base. So what I'm going to do, here you can click on review article. The Copilot's going to create that article for you. You can edit it. You can select it for internal use only, or you can keep it external. You can attach files if necessary and create.
I think,
Once you create
you
it,
know, oh, sorry. I was going to say, I think what's important here is also like you guys are still in control. It drafted it for you, but it's still waiting for you to edit it however you need before creating it. Sorry.
thank you, Andrew. No, that's a very good point. So here you would have to choose where you want to put it. As Andrew said, you're in control of editing anything. Maybe there's something you want to add, some things you want to remove, make it more specific. You have access to doing all that. And then if I go
That's
back,
great.
here you would see it that it would move as implemented. If it's not relevant for you, you can hide it. Or if it's something you want to work on later, you can mark for later and it'll move to a different section. So this is a great way for you to optimize your processes. Also, you need to remember that with AI, anything that you feed to it, it's going to learn and it's going to get better and better. So building those knowledge base articles, building those scripts for automations, it's going to do that so that in the future, things are more automated based on your environment.
It it's also important to mention that even if you clear out all the available insights, it's always learning from what you're doing. So it's going to produce more suggested scripts, more suggested articles, just based on the work that you're getting. So it's really a great tool. The other point I just wanted to point out was you could see from this is our demo environment. So we have a lot of options under the AI Center. That's because we have the autopilot as well. So if you go in, if you have Copilot only, if you go in, you won't see all of those options, and that's normal. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Andrew.
Sorry.
For the person asking that you don't see the AI Center in your account, you need to have the Copilot. So that's when you would see it. If you currently don't have the Copilot, you can let us know. You can click on the button, request a demo, and we'll make sure that we talk to you about it following the webinar. Okay, so now I also want to show you something really cool that we have for the Copilot, which are the MCP integrations. These
Brand new.
integrations, brand new, exactly.
Brand new.
You're
We
gonna,
love this.
especially once you see what it can do, it's really exciting. So you're gonna
Yeah.
be able to connect any third-party tools to the Copilot. So how many of you guys right now have to jump from one app to another? That's pretty annoying. Sometimes you can get distracted. It takes a lot of time. So with these MCP integrations in the Copilot, you're going to be able to do everything in one place. Here we have a catalog of some apps that we added, meaning that you don't have to go here and at the server URL, but any other third-party app that has one, you're going to be able to add it and connect it to the Copilot. So it's pretty simple right here. And I want to show you one specifically with Monday. So I'm just going to share a different tab. Let me
Let us
see.
know in the chat if you've started to work with the MCP integrations. Are you excited to? What your thoughts are? This is brand new.
Let me know if you can see both screens.
We just see part of the Atera.
Okay, let's try again. So I'm just going to show the window. Can you see the window now?
Yeah, it's split screen. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so here I connected Monday to the Copilot. So it's important to remember you have access and control of what you give access to the Copilot. In this case, you will only see, first of all, you need admin permissions to add any MCP third-party tool. But once you do, in this case, I only have access to the Monday boards that I have access to. So I don't have permission to do any changes to those boards that I don't have. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here and open the Copilot, and I'm going to ask it to, on the onboarding demo board, add Copilot webinar as an item, assign Daniela as, assign it to Daniela. Status, working on it, and start date today. So now I'm going to click enter, and here you can see my Monday board, right? So we're just going to see what happens. The
What I love
Copilot's
is,
telling us,
yeah, what I love is it summarizes for you what it's going to do.
it's telling us what it's doing now. It's thinking.
It's also important to mention, just back to that question, that only the technicians with full admin permissions will be able to even see the AI Center. So you might have Copilot, but it might be a permissions where you can't see the AI center.
So here the Copilot is telling us that it's all set, it was added, and as you can see on the right side, it added the Copilot webinar, even with capital letters as I requested it to do. It assigned it to me, working on it, and the start date today. So this is just one of the few tools. As you can see, I'll just go back to the AI Center so you can see some of the suggestions that we have here. But as I said, you can go to the MCP catalog and add any third-party tool and start working with it together with a Copilot from Atera. So I strongly recommend you using this tool. It's something that's going to change the workflow.
I I even want to point out, even a step further than that, we saw how it could take actions for you, it could change things on the board, but what's really cool is you could now ask Copilot to analyze that whole board and give you insights, right? So not only can you ask it which jobs are still not completed, right, and get a list without having to leave Atera, but it now could just analyze it and give you next actions or insights that you need, which is wild if you think about it. Um, so thank you, Daniela. That was really, it's very exciting that we have that.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. We could also show that, but you explained very nicely.
Oh, sorry.
No, 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 it's fine.
I see we have a question. Is Copilot per engineer? Yes. So in terms of the pricing and everything, definitely reach out, to support or your customer success manager. But Copilot is per tech. We kept with that model that we know everyone loves. Okay. So now, thank you, Daniela. We will kick it off to Kim, who's going to get into the exciting ticketing Copilot features.
All right, amazing. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Daniela, for that deep dive. Okay, so ticketing. Uh, we all know the pain of staring at a queue full of unorganized tickets, and it's not
Mm.
just about fixing the issue, it's about the administrative burden. You've got your categorizing, prioritizing, summarizing, and then, of course, there are the reporting needs when all of that is done. And so this is where we're applying Copilot to do that heavy lifting for you. All right, so I'm going to start out with a feature that a lot of people don't know about, and that is the ability for Copilot to auto-populate different ticket fields. So up until now, you've had to manually set up the logic for updating specific fields in the ticket, and what Copilot can do is it can analyze the ticket's content and automatically fill in ticket fields like category, priority, and custom fields to save you time and ensure consistency. So I'm going to show you how. Let me share my screen.
Love that. What's awesome as you're sharing your screen is then based on the info Copilot fills in those fields, you could have automation rules. It's just like based off of any other information in the ticket.
Yep, exactly. It's really, really cool. Okay, so let me show you how to set that up. So first, I'm going to go to custom fields, like Andrew mentioned. We're going to go into the custom fields section, and then here I'm in the ticketing tab. And already I've set up a couple of custom fields that are relative here. So I've got the floor, something, we have a lot of floors, and I want to be able to immediately identify where I'm going. And I also want to know the user frustration score so that I can prioritize this ticket. So those are a couple of ones that I've already set up. And then let's add an additional field. So in this case, it's for a ticket. I'm just going to have regular text, and we're going to call this ticket short summary. And the reason why I want a short summary is I want to have a one-liner to use for reporting purposes. And the more information you can give the title, the better it is for Copilot to understand what you want out of this. So I'm going to add this just like that. And then let me go over, let's just see, I've got my, should be added at the bottom there. Now I want to go to my forms. So we'll go into ticket forms here. And I'm going to grab my my main ticket form, and you can already see I've added floor and user frustration score. And then I also want to do a search for ticket short summary. So this is the one that I've added, and I'm going to drag it over. And most importantly, don't forget to save. Okay, great. So I've set up my form. So now let's go to ticket automation rules, because this is where this all comes into play, where the magic happens. Okay, so if I click my first ticket automation rule here, this is the one that I set up earlier, and I've got my action types are set field value by Copilot. This is the key here. This is the action type that you want to be using. I've added floor and user frustration score. And so anytime a new ticket is created, you can see the trigger that I've set up, then it's going to add this information into the ticket. And so now let's add a new rule, and this is going to be the one that I just created. So let's call it ticket short summary. We're going to copy that in there. In this case, I don't want to add this trigger for when a new ticket's created, because there's not really necessarily that much information. Maybe this time I want it when the ticket status has changed, like to closed or to pending. Let's make this active, and then I'm going to click add. And so let's dive into it a little bit more. So for ticket property, the conditions, I don't want to set anything here because I want it, no matter what type of ticket I have. The action type is going to be set field value by Copilot. That's the key here. And then we want our ticket short summary. Here we go. And I'm going to add that. Okay. So now we've set up that ticket automation rule, just double checking, set field value by Copilot. We've got it when the ticket status changes. All right, so let's see all of this in action now. I'm going to create a new ticket, and I'm just going to say help, lots of exclamation points. My monitor isn't working. This actually happened to me this week, so this is a good ticket. Help. My monitor.
Happens to all of us.
It's the worst. Is plugged in. My device settings shows that it's connected, but it's blank. I need help now. My monitor, let's say, on the 9th floor. All right. So we've added that information. I'm not going to add any additional information here. I'm going to click create.
Has anybody, let us know in the chat if what your use cases are, if you've used this before for yours. We're hearing great use cases from our clients, but we always love to hear new ones, or let's see, like for instance, I have a client who, when they close tickets, they always want to categorize it. If it was a hardware issue, was it a software issue? What was the hardware? What was the software? And it took them so much time, even though it's just you click, but it was really annoying for them. So they were able to have drop downs with sub drop downs. They set that up, and now every time they close the ticket, it automatically does it for them.
That's awesome. I love hearing the different use cases for this.
Yeah.
I working with a client right now who said they didn't realize this existed, and it is a little hidden away there, which is why we really realized we wanted to have this webinar, and it dramatically improved their ability to respond to tickets. Okay, so while we were chatting there, I actually changed the status to pending, since if you remember, that was one of our ticket automation rules. And if I go over here now to the ticket information from the ticket form, the floor was added. It's the 9th floor. User frustration level, I had set that to be 1 to 5, so we can see it sees all my exclamation marks, sees that it's urgent. And I have that short summary: monitor on 9th floor is connected but blank. That's perfect. Now when I do my reporting, it's got the basic information. As a technician, I know that this is a high priority and I know exactly where to go. So I'm off. I'm going to go and solve this problem right now.
It's great. That's great.
So sorry, Andrew.
No, I was going to say also, like, I don't know if I cut you off, like now what's also great for those who have our custom reports, right? I don't know if you want to tell them you could about these could be pulled into the custom reports. So depending what that custom field is, if it's something that the manager wants to see, right, or is telling you to do, now you could do it automatically. They could pull it into a report and see everything.
Yeah, I think that's a real game changer, again, in terms of saving you time and making your just workflow so much more efficient. While we're here talking about ticketing, I'll dive into some of the features that some of you might already know about and others might be learning for the first time. So first of all, the summary. When you're first looking at a ticket, of course, there can be a lot of information, a long thread with back and forth communication. And if you just want to quickly understand the context of a ticket, that can take a little bit of time. And this is where Copilot comes in to change that. So right here from the ticket page, you can select the Copilot icon. You can see that ticket that we were working on earlier. And it's going to pull for me automatically a summary of the ticket. This is really, really amazing time saver. And what's cool, you can see this. What's cool is it didn't just provide a summary, it also gave me some actionable next steps that I can take. And I can continue interacting right from here if that's what I'd like to do. I can ask for more recommendations. I can provide additional information, anything like that. So that's really cool and immediate help. I'm going to actually jump right into the ticket. And so there's a few areas from here where Copilot, the top where you can see Copilot. And you can see the little icon there. If you're not familiar with the Copilot icon, this is what it looks like. So whenever you see that, just click it, play around with it. And again, this starts you off with the summary of the ticket, and you can, even ask it how other similar tickets have been handled in the past. So that's really great additional feature. Just play around. You can upload images, whatever you need to do, you can take care of it here. Going into the ticket for the reply. Now, a lot of you will already know the kind of reply you want to have. If you're an expert, you've been doing this for a long time. In that case, you can just write your response right here. Others might want to save a little bit of time and generate a reply. Either way, it doesn't matter. You will still be able to use Copilot to help you. So it generated a reply based on what it thinks would be the great actionable next steps. But also, if it was something that I had created or otherwise, I can rephrase it. So, take that time out of trying to create that beautifully worded ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw your words
Mm-hmm.
down and let Copilot rephrase it for you, or make it more casual, make it more formal, whatever is needed here.
If English is not your native language, I have a client who said it's really helped their tier 1 support, where they could use that because, again, it's not their native language and they don't have to worry.
That's amazing. That's really, really helpful. And, the goal overall is so that you can focus on the fix, focus on what you're here to do rather than expending energy on crafting a beautiful response. Okay, something that's cool. And I think somebody was mentioning knowledge bases. So something that Copilot helps with is to generate an article. So let's say you've got a closed ticket, you've come to a resolution, and now you want to generate an article. Just clicking that button will take you to the knowledge base.
It's you're sharing only that tab.
Got it.
There you go.
All right, so you can see I'm in the knowledge base now. It's created a quick article for me. I can completely edit this. It doesn't have to stay like this. Or I could even just save it and come to it later, but at least I know I'm building out a library. I know for a lot of you that can be extremely time consuming. So this is a great way to automatically generate those articles to empower your user base and to empower your technicians, because this can be for, you can see at the bottom, for internal use only. So internal use, external use, however you want to use that. And I can just create it and have that in my library.
Absolutely. You know, sorry, just another little tidbit here. Our knowledge base is important to, teach the Copilot and everything, but now also with the MCP integration, maybe you have yours in Notion or another, right, third-party app where with the MCP integration, now if you connect it, it could also
Ooh,
learn from that. Yes. So
I
really,
love that.
it's opened up a lot of doors here. And I was even going to point out, right, to connect what you're showing and what Daniela showed, when you're inside the chat, let's say it tells you next steps and it gives you, maybe you have a to-do list on Monday. In that chat, you could say, add, whatever item to my Monday board called blah, blah, blah. So again, it's the workflow keeps you here. And you really, it's so powerful.
That's really cool. That's great to note that about the MCP integration. It's so new that I'm still like
Yeah,
trying to open my mind to all the things that we can do with it. And
we don't
that's an
we don't
excellent
even
one.
know yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're learning.
Definitely, as all of you play around with these features and try out new things, share that feedback with us. It really helps us to better help others, and
Yeah,
we're all learning together, which I think is amazing. And Copilot just keeps growing. So again, that's why we wanted to have this webinar. There's so many features that we want you to be able to dive into more. I just have one more thing related to ticketing to show all of you, and that's, if I create a new ticket here, I can schedule tickets. So
mm,
this is cool. If you have, recurring tasks, for example, recurring items that your technicians need to work on, then you can just say, create a ticket every Monday at 5. And then I can generate this with AI. So I'm not having to schedule it myself and find that, like, do all those little steps. I'm saving all the steps, putting in natural language what I want, and it's going to do that. And if I go to my ticketing section now, there's a tab right here called scheduled tickets, and I can go here and see all of the tickets that I've scheduled. So it's a pretty cool feature. And yeah, Craig, exactly. It's an amazing feature. I feel like it's being underutilized a little bit. Just again, people don't
mm.
really realize it's there. So yeah, so I hope that helps some of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
my
Kim.
pleasure. That was this is such a great opportunity to connect with everybody and dive in more. So yeah, it's a great session and great to hear from all of you.
Yeah, for sure. Please, let us know again in the chat if we'd love to know if there's maybe features you learned about tonight that you're going to try. I always push, you know, clients will ask, technicians ask, can Copilot do XYZ? Or how could I do XYZ? And my answer is just try, just ask it. Um, it will be honest. It will tell you if it can't. But even for myself, if I'm wondering how to do something in Copilot, so I use it that way as well. Or even for Atera, right? You don't have to use our knowledge base anymore. You don't have to use the support necessarily, although they're wonderful. So, I always love talking to them. But you could just go into the chat and ask it, and it's going to tell you. I love seeing, let's see. Yes. Yes. To Alina's point as well. We forget that at the end of the day, it's a regular AI tool as well, right? It has all the IT information, but you really could ask it anything. I've asked it to help me prepare for a presentation. Um, so definitely just ask it. And that goes back also to the actions, right? I like to show, um, what clients are the actions that they're taking. Let me pull that up actually real quick, and I'll share my screen again because that's the second part of what's so valuable here is taking the actions from there, whether it's suggesting it to you or again, you as the expert, you know what has to be done. So what I'm going to show you, let me share my screen. Let me know when you guys could see it. There we go.
Yeah.
So this right now, I zoomed out and I didn't put a filter for any clients. So this is just like in order of the most used actions. And I like to share this because it'll get kind of the like curiosity and juices flowing, right, of what you could do. So we could see the most is renewing an IP address, delete temporary files. Again, these are all the actions you as the expert, as the technician, have to tell or push the button to confirm for it to do. It's not going to do anything without you confirming. Um, Reset the Windows system updates, restart a computer, clear DNS cache. I don't know why that was hard for me today. Time sync, reinstall printers, drivers. Think about if it's anything you could do with a command line or remoting in, you're already connected. You're already remoted in. So you could take all of these agentic actions. So if anything, I like to say, just try it. That is really what we like to emphasize. So let's see what's going on in the chat. I know Alina is on it. Alina, our queen, thank you. Everyone give a shout out for Alina.
Thank you,
Let's
Alina.
see.
And we can also follow up afterwards for anything we didn't get to. So no worries
Yes,
here.
for sure. I know we're a little early. We got through everything. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and so somebody asked for a way to get a list of the reference of the various actions. We don't have a list. Again, it's more like proprietary to give out a whole list, so we can't. But what we do have is a really great playbook, which will have use cases, and suggestions for you to look over, and you could share with your team if they didn't make it to this. So definitely, we could send that out or ask again support or your customer success manager. But yeah, there's so much you could do. I'm going to go ahead and launch the survey now. If you guys could just take, it's less than a minute because we'd love your feedback. But other than that, that's everything we had for you guys today. As a reminder, we have part 2 next week. That is going to cover more of the RMM with the scripting, the device troubleshooting. We are going to go over again the MCP integration and the ROI, just in case people missed it. The Copilot booklet, I'm going to actually ask the team if we could just automatically share it. But I see that you're asking for it. Thank you for the feedback. But yeah, make sure the link, trying to think for part 2, if let's see if we could get it quick from, if somebody could get it quick from
I've got it.
yeah, and share it in the chat there.
I've
And
got
we'll
it. I'm
see
gonna
about sharing the playbook with everyone automatically. Thank you,
Alina's
Alina.
got us.
There it is. Yep, she's on it. All right, so let me go ahead and launch the survey. And thank you guys. Thank you. We hope really that you see the benefit, that it helps you optimize your workflow and really just keep being the amazing technicians that you are.